Here we are, kids. Time to go over these clouds, and the first portion of this is going to be quite a bit of review as we go through, and that's okay to always go back and review some things. But as we talk about these, let's make sure you have these in your notebooks. If you need to pause and get some things written down in your notebooks, please do so as we go through this. One of the first things we talked about is how clouds are named, and clouds can be named on their size. Clouds can be named on their height in the atmosphere, and we're going to go over that today with some prefixes and suffixes, and you'll see pretty quickly that it is important where they are in the atmosphere as to how they get their names. Some of them, in their names, it tells you what they do, and we'll go over that again when we get to prefixes and suffixes. When we first started out, we realized that there are three main types of clouds: cumulus, stratus, and cirrus, and as we went over those in class, we talked about cumulus clouds. Whoops, too fast there, Mr. B. And we looked at these and said, hey, man, these are like puffy white. They look like cotton balls. Cumulus means a heap, which is what some of us put on top of our pumpkin or sweet potato pie, big heap, a mound of Cool Whip or whipped cream or something on there, which is good. And when we look at these, we typically look at these kind of skies and say, it's going to be a nice day outside, and that is correct. We said that cumulus clouds mean fair and sunny weather is going to be upon us that day. You can see in the background, if you look, all the blue that shows in between those big puffy clouds that look like cotton balls, and that is a cumulus cloud day. A couple commercials there and some stuff about that. Stratus clouds. When I look at this cloud, I don't see any blue, and there's a reason why behind that. Stratus clouds kind of blanket or cover the entire sky. Stratus clouds are kind of weird because I think there's personally some misinformation given on some of the quizzes and tests, and I have no control over that, but I do want you to understand where some of these people that write the test questions are coming from. So when we looked at the notes, stratus means Latin to spread out or blanket, and it does cover the entire sky. And when you look at this, it's like this, kind of light gray to dark gray that covers the whole sky. Now, you'll notice here in the notes, they usually bring light rain or drizzle, and if it's cold enough, it snows. I'm going to argue later when we get to prefixes and suffixes that they should change the name of this cloud, but I have seen questions, which of the following clouds most likely brings precipitation, and it's cirrus, cumulus, and stratus. Well, the answer has to be stratus, because we'll realize today that cirrus and cumulus are not associated with any type of precipitation. Although if they're going to say stratus is, I think they should say cumulus is, but I guess they let us change the name of cumulus to cumulonimbus, as you'll see here when we get to prefixes and suffixes. After stratus, we talked about these big, thin, wispy clouds that are made of ice. And it is important to write down that they are thin and wispy. I actually saw wispy show up in one of the questions we used in class today to help us review. Cirrus clouds mean fair weather. Now, one thing we wrote down that's not necessarily in this slide is cirrus clouds can also predict an upcoming change in the weather as well, because as you're looking at them, you can kind of see that the wind is blowing in this direction. It blows from this side, goes this way, and it kind of curls up at the end. So we went over cumulus, stratus, and cirrus clouds, and we stopped in all of our Zooms and everything in class. I even think we stopped in the videos from last week with prefixes and suffixes, and we're going to pick up with those today. I will come back to this in just a few moments. As we're looking at this, we realize that there are going to be three prefixes. Whoa, Mr. B, getting a little ahead of yourself there. Cirro, which is your high-level clouds. You have alto, which is your mid-level clouds, and strato, which is your low-level clouds. And all of these terms are going to be very important as we go through the naming of some of these new types of clouds that we're going to come in contact with today. Cirro meaning high level, alto meaning mid level, strato meaning low level. Let's take a look at that. Obviously, we've talked about cirrus clouds. We're not going to call them cirro-cirrus, which would be kind of hard to say, but kind of redundant. Cirrus clouds are high-forming clouds. We know they form so high that they're made of ice crystals, and they mean fair weather. We just covered that. That's important. But what about a cirrostratus cloud? Now all of a sudden I have to put this prefix, cirro, understand that it means high level, with stratus. So I have a high level stratus cloud. Now if you look at this, this is not as thick as your other stratus, your low level stratus clouds. This is, and we talked in class today that stratus clouds, we typically refer to them as blankets. I would refer to this almost as a sheet. It covers the sky, but pretty thinly. I mean, as a matter of fact, you can kind of see a little bit of blue through some of that. It's still covering the sky, but almost like a sheet instead of a blanket. It's still a stratus cloud, so what can we expect from that? Well, when you see a cirrostratus cloud, understand that it's forming very, very high in the sky. Cirrostratus clouds are made of ice crystals, so you're not going to be worried about any type of precipitation falling from a cirrostratus cloud, and that comes from knowing that it forms so high in the atmosphere that it's going to be made of ice crystals. Again, I don't need you to take a lot of notes on this one. I just want you to at least have heard it, because I don't typically have this show up on tests and quizzes. I'll let you know if I write something down and take the time to write it, you should probably write that. It'll show up on the test and quiz. If I don't, it's just some extra information about clouds that might help you later on with your understanding. Cirrocumulus. Okay, I haven't memorized these yet, so I'll go back and look. Okay, cirro means high level, cumulus clouds, and I can see that. Those look like little puffy cotton balls, but they're a lot further away than those cumulus clouds that I'm used to, and that's because they are cirrocumulus. They are high-forming cumulus clouds. If you look at that, when you see cirrocumulus clouds, you can assume that there's fair weather on the way. Do you need to jot this down? It's going to be on the test? No, because I haven't written it down on the board, so you'll be good to go. Just kind of follow along with the notes with the cirrocumulus cloud. Altocumulus. Time out, Mr. Bullens, you've changed something on me. What did you change? Well, I changed the prefix. I've gone from cirro to alto. These are mid-level cumulus clouds. Now this one, they're not as far away. It almost looks like someone took the entire bag of cotton balls and dumped it out on like a blue bed sheet or something. I can see the blue behind them, but there's a whole bunch of those little cotton balls everywhere, right? But they're still cumulus clouds. Now, this one's a little different. Altocumulus is kind of strange. It can actually kind of predict that you're probably going to have a storm coming up later on that day. So if you see altocumulus, get whatever it is you're doing outside done quick as possible, because later on there's going to be a thunderstorm. Again, don't need to write this down or jot it down or anything. Just some extra information in case we get to do our clouds project this year. Altostratus. What is that? Mr. Bullens, alto means mid-level stratus clouds. Now this is more like it. This is the stratus clouds I'm used to seeing because it covers the entire sky. And I think this is a better representation of stratus, and this is pretty similar to the stratus clouds. It covers the sky, it blocks out some of the sun. So let's talk about that. We need to remember that. I told you I would be coming back to this in just a moment. And if I can, I may have to pause. Hang on a second. I knew I'd have to come back to this a different way. I just wanted to make sure it all's on the screen. You need to understand how clouds affect the weather during the day, and stratus clouds are the ones that can do it the most. Can a cumulus cloud block the sun? Sure, for a little bit. Can a cirrus cloud? Probably not really, because it's super thin and wispy. But stratus clouds have the ability to block a majority of the sunlight trying to reach the earth. And during the day, what happens? The sun is here, and you'll notice that the radiant energy is coming down, and it is blocked and reflected and absorbed by the clouds. Meaning, below the clouds, the heat's not making it there, so during the daytime, it can be cooler temperatures when you have cloud cover. Conversely, at night, if it's been sunshiny during the day and the ground has been able to absorb heat, it becomes cloudy with stratus clouds at night. When the heat tends to move away through radiant energy and move away from the earth, it has nowhere to go. It can't go up into the atmosphere but so far because the clouds trap it and insulate it and keep the heat from going too high. That keeps it warmer at night when there's cloud cover. That's going to show up. I know that's on the test, and it was on the review that we did today in class as well. So we have that to look over. So altostratus, much like stratus, and I would argue they're all some sort of nimbostratus clouds, could bring storms and rain and snow. Again, don't need to take notes on that. Not going to be on the test. Stratus clouds are on the test. We just talked about how they block the sunlight. We've talked about how stratus clouds can bring rain, according to some of the tests and quizzes, although I would change the name of that cloud to a nimbostratus, but that's just me. Nimbostratus, very important. Time to flip back to our chart and time to talk about two new words. They both pretty much mean the exact same thing. I have nimbo, the prefix, and nimbus, the suffix. These are clouds that bring precipitation. Once a cloud starts to have precipitation, you need to add nimbo or nimbus to it. You would never say a nimbocirrus or a cirronimbus because there's no rain associated with that. However, nimbostratus are rain clouds. Cumulonimbus are the storm clouds that we will get to very soon. So these are two very important prefixes and suffixes because they bring precipitation. So Mr. Bullens, that means it rains. Yes, but it could be rain, sleet, snow, or hail. So if I have a nimbostratus cloud on a day when it's like 25 degrees, we're probably going to have snow. Okay, so you need to remember that precipitation. Don't just always call it rain. That could be some way that you could get mixed up on that. Again, nimbostratus clouds. Do you need to write all this 8,000 feet and stuff? No, it's moderate, this part right here. Light to moderate, steady precipitation. Nimbostratus are those days that we all hate where it rains all stinking day long. Nimbostratus. Stratocumulus, okay, so we went back to our prefixes. We're at low-lying cumulus clouds. There they are. It could be light precipitation with a stratocumulus, although I would change that to a different name. Cumulonimbus, probably one of the most important clouds that we will study. Now, I see this nimbus here, and I see cumulo. So it's a cumulus cloud that's now a nimbus cloud. What does that mean, Mr. Bullens? Well, cumulonimbus clouds are your thunderstorm clouds. They bring thunder, lightning, hail. You can see all of this stuff. Heavy precipitation, thunder, lightning, and hail from a cumulonimbus cloud. Do you need to jot that down? You probably should pause the video and write that down because cumulonimbus clouds are extremely important. This is why we should be able to tell the difference in all of the clouds. If you go outside and you are wondering, can I play outside today, and you see cirrus clouds, probably going to be a good day for you to play. You have to know what a cumulonimbus cloud is because you need to be inside, away from the possibility of lightning or getting caught in a storm that's so bad that has hail, because as we'll watch in some videos later on, some of those can be very damaging storms. So you don't want to be outside in a thunderstorm with a cumulonimbus cloud. Contrails, believe it or not, classified as clouds. Mr. Bullens, that's coming out of a plane or a jet. It is. This is a condensation trail. Obviously no weather associated with it, but I've seen this show up before. What clouds are associated with jets? Well, it's this. Contrails are line-shaped clouds made by jet engine exhaust. That's all you need to know. Okay? Listen, I don't know what SUMAID is. I will fix that later, but if I fix it now, it'll ruin all of your codes. Contrails are made up of when the jet is flying and the exhaust is coming out, it comes out of the backside of the plane and has a lot of water vapor in it. Because planes and jets fly so high, that crystallizes very quickly, probably in that desublimation or deposition way. And what happens is it turns into little ice crystals because they're so high in the sky. And you get to see those little lines, the trails that the jets leave as they fly through the atmosphere. Contrails. Fog. Fog is another very important type of cloud that we need to talk about. And fog, as you can see here, it's hard to see through. Fog is a low-lying stratus cloud. It's a low-lying stratus cloud. And we will jot down a definition on the board of fog, and then we will be done for today. Low-lying stratus cloud that touches Earth. All right, that's fog. We'll wrap it up there. Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep on rocking it in science. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.